basically, this is an amazing opportunity to really push the boundaries with the car and create a brand direction and design direction for McLaren. So building on the 12C, the F1 and Formula 1 as well. And we talked about it with Rob and Frank, and we were looking at a lot of organic forms. We thought, everyone's always doing kind of faceted surfaces and heavy crease lines. That kind of it's been overdone, and Lamborghini do it very, very well. And what we want to do is kind of create something new and different. And then you look at the Formula 1 cars. When you look at Formula 1 cars, they're actually very organic in themselves. And when you start analysing it, you think, all these surfaces are there for a reason, but they are organic and beautiful. So we can definitely integrate that into McLaren road cars.
You can actually pull the F1 aesthetic in because the tie-in is true aero.
Absolutely, yeah. So developing the theme, we had constantly having input from CFD guys, the aero guys, packaging guys, the engineering guys. So it's very much a collaboration with the car. Well, in developing aerodynamics, you look at the sort of leading edges of intakes on Formula 1 side pods. It's very soft, very large, generous radius. Hard creases aren't good for aero because the air detaches. So that kind of gives you an automatic head start on what we're going to do. So then it just develops into the form of the car. Another thing we really wanted to do was really celebrate what the air's doing. So you can see, hopefully you can see quite clearly what the air is doing. So you've got good clean air coming over the sort of shoulder and around the A-pillar, and that's going into the main sort of ground intake duct on the side. And then the black area that's beneath it, that's literally an offset of that duct. So it's very much about celebrating the airflow. Also within that theme, I thought it'd be quite cool to use that as a graphic to take a lot of visual weight out the side of the car. So you've got this sort of very kind of pronounced, quite classical fender line really that's kind of harking back to the F1 and the 12C. But beneath that you've got this very technical kind of exposed element, and it kind of gives it that almost dark line sort of starts to the sort of top sheet, and then below that you've got all the exposed aero stuff that's very technical. Everything's for a reason.
That's not exposed tongue, however, right? That's actual sort of sculpted element that's on top of the tub.
Absolutely, that's the door out. That's the door out the skin. The tub is, and the monocage is within that. However, on the top, that is the monocage. That is the chassis.
Well, and that leads me to one of the big questions we've all had. Now, obviously, we're not seeing the interior. We don't know if there is an interior. But the blocked out window here, the quarter light. Is that going to be? Is that a structural element? Is that simply for here so that you can't see through to the engine and the interior, or is that something that's going to be? Is there reasoning behind sort of having that blocked out?
I mean, effectively, with the monocage beneath that, there wasn't reason to have glass.
Not enough space to have a quarter light there.
You end up with a 50p piece. And so to kind of continue the McLaren sort of window graphic, we decided to sort of make that carbon fibre. It's lighter. It still creates that graphic, which is important to sort of the flowing nature of the car. We did try it, just chopping off and painting it kind of like an Enzo kind of Nilo, and it just doesn't work. It really needed that
stunted the sort of movement that you were going for in the sort of organic thing. And then obviously this rear end is really, it's I think most notable feature because it's so low and there's extremely wide open areas.
The height in knee, which is it's basically below the exhausts on the 12C. That's the height of that deck, and that was really about from the engineering guys wanting low drag, good coefficient of drag, bigger. So that was really important to kind of keep it down. But then it gives us a great opportunity to create this really kind of evocative sort of low decks, kind of like very much reminiscent of race cars. These lovely sort of pronounced nice launches, and then that kind of leads you onto the graphic, the rear end.
The honeycomb and everything that we're seeing, and the lights now are completely integrated into the ring around the edge, right?
Yeah.
So this will be exposed to the engine bay for cooling, I imagine, in the final.
As much hot air out of the engine bay as possible. And then this is literally sort of framing the bodywork, and the rear lamps are the trailing edge of bodywork.
Right.
It's quite advanced and stuff, really.
And I mean, the graphics and things on the rear, on the engine cover and the roof there, also echoing, I guess, the honeycomb in a quite interesting way.
Yeah, I mean, that outlet is trying to get visual tie into the grills.
Right.
I mean, the shape of the carbon on top, I said before, that is the monocage.
Right.
But it's also the air intake system.